Today's guest is a rock star who has overcome some challenges to chase after his dream. He's doing it a little bit later in life than most do, but his music is phenomenal. So please, check out My Silent Reality on Spotify or Apple or wherever it is that you listen to music. But make sure that you give this interview with Andrew Wright a listen. We'll get right to it after this.
You could be a man of courage, of honor, of integrity. You could be the father, the husband, the leader that your family and your community needs. This is the Manlihood ManCast. Here's your host, Josh Hatcher.
Guys, welcome to the Manlihood ManCast. I'm Josh Hatcher. I love you guys. I care about you. And I'm really excited to be able to bring you some awesome interviews with some interesting people who are thought leaders, who are musicians, who are businessmen, who can help us level up as men as we get to hear their story and what they've been working on. I love this conversation that I had with Andrew Wright of the band My Silent Reality. We're going to get right into it right now. Andrew, I'm really glad to have you on the Manlihood ManCast, man. I am really excited about the work that you're doing with My Silent Reality, and I thought maybe you could tell us a little bit about your story. What's the story behind this band?
Well, My Silent Reality, the name in itself comes from my personal dealings, and it's kind of an oxymoron sort of a name, mainly because what you have is this My Silent Reality, which is my hearing disability, with the obviously my struggles with my hearing disability and trying to produce music, do rock music. Not only that, but then you have the fact that rock music is loud, so it kind of correlates into My Silent Reality. But in a nutshell, My Silent Reality is my reality. Silence is my reality, and silence can be chaos in my mind and in my experience anyways. So that's kind of where it stems from.
I know I've known you for a long time, and I know that I generally have to talk a little louder, when we're talking, but you usually understand things pretty well. I know you've got a hearing aid, right? And you read lips a little bit, kind of in addition to it.
Yeah, my hearing is down to about, say, like 30% without them. So I have to wear them. Mm-hmm. And it is still a challenge if I'm not facing you. It's not going to be. I'm still not going to hear you. I know we've had that struggle before. If people talk to me from behind, I don't really get it. I think it's funny that someone sees me at the store, they might think I'm a complete jerk. But at the end of the day, I know what I am. I know what the circumstances. But yeah, it's always been a struggle. But at the end of the day, you got to fight through it, and I have to do that every day.
So somewhere along the line, and I mean, you've done music your whole life, and like at one point you actually auditioned for American Idol as well, right?
Yeah. Just fresh out of high school, I believe, and that was the year. I think it was the year that Daughtry was in it or something like that. Mm-hmm. But that was it was a fun year. It was a fun experience. I did audition for American Idol. I only did that twice, actually, in Cleveland and Atlanta. So it was a good experience.
Yeah, just to go down and give it a shot and see what would happen. And
what the heck,
And so here you are now, you're grown.
I've got dreams, man. You got to make it happen somehow.
Yeah, and so now you're like, okay, fine. If they're not going to pay attention to me, I'm going to do it on my own, right?
Right.
So what does that look like for where you're at now? How did this process work for you? Was it a struggle to...
Well, just like anything. Okay, I mean, especially music. You speak with people about what they want to do in their dreams, and then pursuing their dreams, they might not get what they want. They might not get there. They might not have the best experience. They might have people tell them they suck. They might have whatever. But at the end of the day, it's all about what you learn. Even at a job, your dream, your extracurricular activity, whatever. It's all about going forward, taking a step in faith. It doesn't work out. Okay, so what? And at the end of the day, what was happening with me is I noticed that experience obviously didn't work out. I would have been too young, whatever. It wasn't what they were looking for. Don't take it personal. You gotta go back and keep pushing. I ended up moving to South Carolina back in about 08, 09. Started the band Trying to Kill Omega. We did really well, and we learned a lot. Just learned a lot about music in general, about how to perform, how to sell it, how to do the market side of everything with music. Up till today, 2 years ago, I wrote a country album and met my producer, Travis. And in that situation, just what I learned with Travis on that day about what the music business really is and what you need to focus on, that you're doing the hard part now with music, and now you need to push it with everything else. Even right down to how to think, and thinking bigger, and that the world is smaller, and that sort of thing. So you always want to constantly be learning. In my situation with music, it's always been constantly learning. Enjoying it along the way, but learning all at the same time. If you can't enjoy it, then forget it.
Listening to the album, the tracks that you sent over for me to listen to, the music is phenomenal. I can hear a lot of different influences, that I can pick up. What artists do you think would you consider an influence on your sound and your style?
Oh, My Silent Reality.
I know, that's the question musicians all hate, right?
There's a lot of different things that I like. And that's a lot of stuff that's in the album. Like, you can hear a lot of Breaking Benjamin. You can hear a lot of even Chris Daughtry. I like him. Some of the vocals that I do, I try to emulate him. But I tried to take on a whole new shape. And what was really fascinating about this, I talked about Travis a little bit. And what was really fascinating about this, the whole experience, was I sent him the stuff that I produced myself, and he's like, okay, let's do this. And it's like the whole collaboration behind music is amazing. But yeah, some of the stuff that you're going to hear on it, you obviously hear a lot of Breaking Benjamin type style. You'll hear, I've heard it sounds like Linkin Park, the earlier stuff, not the pop stuff. I've heard, like I said, different artists, but those two really come to mind at this point.
Lots of chunky guitars, big drums, some good synth.
Big drums, big guitars. One of the ones, I had a guest, it's not listed on there, but I did have a guest come in, and believe it or not, Small World, an example of Small World. If there's Rascal Flatts fans out there, on the last song on the album, on Breaking Me, I had a guest guitar player, Andy White from the Rascal Flatts, play the guitar solo on this, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty
phenomenal.
Cool. And so Travis is out in Tennessee. You went to Tennessee for your studio time, right?
Knoxville, out of Knoxville, Tennessee.
And what was that experience like for you?
Well, I knew him from previously, so I know he's the guys in this profession, in any profession, I guess, like the really top-notch guys. They hammer you, and he is nothing but a straight professional. Like, and at the end of the day, what he was teaching, I was able to take back just some life lessons and also music, but in general, his biggest thing was always organization, and always just do it. Believe in yourself, just go for it. A lot of times he would just say, did you hear the difference? I'd be like, absolutely not. Okay, well, we're just going to keep going. Do it again, sing it again. And we would sing the same spot probably like 15 to 20 times. And he'd be like, did you hear the difference? No, Travis, I didn't. Okay, well, you're singing differently. Keep doing it. It just kept going like that, but it did. It was different.
Right.
Even though I might not have heard it was different.
He knew what the difference was.
Yeah, it was different, I think, obviously, you know how I perform and how I sing. And you even mentioned it too, like, wow, that's really matured. Your voice really matured.
Yeah, I was listening to it, and my first thought was, wait, is that Drew? Is that the guy that I know? And then I'm listening, and I'm like, yeah, I can hear in his inflection, I can hear in his tone, that's him. But what it seems like your producer did is he said, let me pull out the best in you.
Oh, yeah.
And just draw it out, which honestly, I think like that actually kind of relates, like that's actually like a life lesson. You know what I mean? Like find somebody that's going to pull out the best in you, That's awesome. So.
And that's really, at the end of the day, that's why he's won Dove Awards. That's one. He's been nominated for Grammys. That's why he's worked with POD and Pillar and to some of the other people. Chris Stapleton, for other country fans out there. He also works with Dolly Parton. So I mean, it was nice to be able to work with the best of the best. And believe it or not, if there's any musicians out there, he was affordable. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, but he's fantastic. If you are a musician and you are even anything in life, get yourself the best product. Don't just put something else out there, because it makes it so much easier. So much easier.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something sometimes to the, the raw and the unplugged and the natural. There's a place for that, but if you really want to do this, you're saying this is your dream. You want to put this out there and actually make it happen. So why not give it the best? Why not do the best you can with it?
This is my last hurrah. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, I'm 36, still chasing a dream. I feel I still got it. I still feel young, but at the end of the day, this is my last hurrah. I'm going to go full head on, 10%. I put everything into this one. We got the band, we're getting the band together now, and we're going to push these, and then I have a follow-up album that I want to do. And then whatever happens after that, we'll see. Hopefully it takes off, keeps going. So far, so good.
So tell me about the songs themselves. The title of the album is called Quarantine, is that right?
The album's called Quarantine. Now, it's called Quarantine. I didn't say, I'm going to use the pandemic and use it. But it's more quarantine, obviously. It's one of those things where you're sick and you got to cut yourself off, and heal. Really, that's the imagery of the album. And that's really, of all the songs, that's what the imagery of the album is. I wanted this to be, if you see the art on the front of the album, it's a picture of the guy. So everything's combined, by the way. The album covers all the imageries, everything. But it's a picture of this guy's face and it's kind of being pushed away, blown away. That is really just stripping off the old self and pushing yourself in. And at the end of the day, that's what my stuff's about, because I have, like I said, with my hearing disability, it's a constant fight. I mean, it's not just saying that, and I don't like talking about it. It's kind of uncomfortable, but
sure.
At the end of the day, it's not just something that is there. It's something that you have to fight every single day. Anybody with a disability understands that. It's called a disability for a reason, because you don't have either that sense, that the eyesight, or you can't drive, or you're handicapped in some way. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what this is about. These are about my struggles. So if anybody out there has those type of struggles, that's what I want to combine with. I mean, just to name a few, I would have loved anything more than to talk with a guy like Chester Bennington from Linkin Park before he took his own life. Those kind of people, those kind of situations, you're like, holy crap. I mean, I had a best friend myself take his own life, and that was completely devastating. And to know that maybe there was somebody else out there that struggled with the same kind of demons that you did. So it's kind of, I want to be transparent to my fans anyways. That's what these songs are. These songs are like, open me up on the inside. You can see everything, including what I'm thinking. And that's what I want to throw that out there. But that's what Quarantine's all pretty much about.
Honestly, I like music like that myself more than, you turn on the radio and when they're just faking it and they're just making stuff up and talking about whatever, or they're like writing a breakup song and they've never broken up with anybody in their entire life,
I mean, you can relate to different things. I mean, I like to party. I like to have a good time too. You know what I mean? And I can relate with some of those songs.
Sure.
But
I think this sounds like, hey, here's my heart. This is what I'm dealing with, what I'm going through, and I think that's powerful. Yeah, that's
I will always. That's my commitment. When I write, that has always been my commitment. You will know, you're going to be able to say, that guy's awesome. And you want to know what makes it even cooler? What makes it even cooler is not so much them getting into it and them listening to it and I'll put my song out there. I'm awesome. That has nothing to do with it. But when I'm on stage, I think when I write this stuff, when I'm on stage and I watch other people sing my songs, that is the most magical moment Like I don't know how many other artists say that, but when I write my stuff, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about those people singing it back to me, and it takes you. You might have heard it before, like these artists that say, "Oh, it was like an out of body experience." Like you like float in that moment. You just feel the energy of the people. So it's I want that positive energy. You know, I don't want. I mean, I was talking about it the other day with the attitude and the drive behind guys like, you know, Limp Bizkit. You know, they had a different way to channel their anger and their frustrations, like break stuff. You know, like I look back at different shows that they did from like Woodstock '99, where it just went bonkers after they were on stage, but that was their emotion, and that people were able to connect to that, which is really cool. So
honestly, though, like that's something I was thinking about today. Is as men, we often don't know how to express our emotion. We don't, you know. Tough guys, like, you know, like poetry, you know, singing. No, dude, like that's actually a very valid masculine way to express what you're feeling.
I mean, you probably know as much as I do. The most manly men that I know are able to communicate. I've got issues.
Exactly.
Issues. I had to get over them. So do you. It's time to man up and face your issues.
Exactly.
So those are the most manly, most positive people that I could possibly know. Guys that have been there. I say, I struggled with alcohol, I struggled with drugs, I struggled with whatever, sex, pornography, whatever. Those guys are the ones that you can look up and say, genuine, I guess is what.
Yeah,
you want those genuine people in your life.
Real, yeah.
Because, I mean, we all see it. I call it barroom talking.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're talking with some guy or whatever, or fellow guys, you know, you're trying to fit in, and that's the first thing that happens. I shot a 6-point. Oh, yeah, I got an 8-point the other day. Just be real.
Yeah.
You know, and be genuine. You know, maybe you did get an 8-point, but just the top type things.
Yeah, it's to one up each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about we just be real with what we're feeling and what we're dealing with and where we're at? You know, I've been going through a tough time myself here lately with some stuff that's going on, and you know, you're walking around and people are like, "Oh, how you doing?" And you're like, "How are you doing?" You don't want to answer the question because you don't want to be.
How are you?
Yeah. How are you? So having a creative outlet like music or something like that, or art, like or even like woodworking, you know, like having a creative outlet's a really great way, I think, for men to channel the things they're feeling. You know,
I mean, when it comes to creativity, I mean, it's so difficult. I mean, I'll give people credit right now, especially with the pandemic in itself. There are two ways you could have looked at the pandemic. You could have said, there's no way, it's done, we're not going to get to play anymore. I mean, it's in my situation. We're not going to get to play anymore. Why are you going to write music about anything right now? And then there was also the fact that, you know what, you could channel that and say, I had a great opportunity. I mean, before he got in trouble, think about Morgan Wallen. He wrote what was that, 48 song album or something like that. So I think you should really consider always turning on your creativity somehow, even no matter what your mood is. Because like when I write, I might be sad, I might be depressed, I might be fighting something myself. I notice those moments, those dark moments, are the moments that the creativity really comes out, and really start to take note of who you are and what you're doing as a person. It's like, in those dark moments, those are the things that can really bring out something bigger and better. So,
even if it's not something that's ever going to be published or put out there, you know, it might just be something for you and you alone to process and work through it, you know, but it could be something that is used like your music to help somebody else, you know, to help somebody else connect or to help somebody else interact with it.
I've said this before, and I fully believe this. You know, I'm a very open, confident person, and I'm not very, and I get this, kind of trained myself to do this, I guess, but they call it introvert, extrovert, or being confident versus being shy. And I can't imagine how many people feel like they can't express themselves. You know, like maybe they don't know how, or they just don't feel like they're important enough or whatever. But what I say to those people is, you're robbing everybody else. You're robbing yourself, and you're robbing everybody else of what we could possibly know about you and what we could possibly know about life. Maybe there's something that you don't share because you're not being confident or you're not being assertive enough for yourself, I guess. And we won't know. And I always feel like I might be robbing somebody if I don't step up and say something. You know what I mean? That could just be my personality. But I mean, I don't want to be pressing or anything. But when it comes to who I am as a person, I don't want to rob somebody because that's in my control. The rest of society is not.
Right. Yeah, as far as it's up to you, you want to make sure that you've said the right thing and done the right thing. Yeah, I struggle sometimes because my confidence sometimes can be too much, and then I'll stray into, confidence, and you go to arrogance, and that doesn't go over well. So I'm working on keeping that in check. But
that's called humility, right?
Yeah. Humility keeps it in check. And I've noticed if I never have enough, somebody will come along and give it to me.
Oh yeah. I mean, I used to laugh because that was when I first started reading the Bible as a kid. I would come across the humility, and I actually said that to my parents one time. I'm like, does that mean being humiliated? Is that what like? And they kind of looked at me like, it could be. It could be if you're going to take it too far. Like
if that's what it takes.
You can find yourself humiliated and become humbled. Yeah. Yeah, it could be.
That's the hard way to learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it usually is with me. I'm stubborn, so I learn things the hard way. So I know you've also written, you've got several books that you actually write a lot. You've written your songs. You've got some books out there on Amazon, and
I've got half dozen, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, some self-help books and stuff like that. I think it's kind of interesting, and I like to do the same.
I love self-help books. You know what I mean? Like 40, 50 pages. That's the kind of stuff I used to like to read.
Yeah.
I was like, put it together, hopefully help somebody.
Yeah, and put it out there.
So when, like I said, when I write, I try to connect my personal experiences because I feel like that's why I have them. I don't think it's, God throwing lightning bolts down at me or anything, but I think we're given struggles to learn and become wise, I guess. I look at struggles as a way of, I hate them when they happen, but I look at it a way to say, okay, how can I learn from this? What can I learn?
Yeah.
Move forward. I think as men, we should always do that instead of thinking we know everything. Even anybody should be looking at their lives and saying, yeah, that's not what I want out of it. Let's try to figure out how to make it better, whatever the circumstances is. Some natural, some not. And that's where a lot of the self-help books came from. And that's where a lot of the songs come from.
So there's a couple questions I like to ask all the guys that I interview. And the first one's a little bit deep. But let's say little Andrew was here. I don't mean your son, Andrew, but little you was here in the room. And you had the opportunity to speak into his life and tell him what he's going to need to hear. What would you tell him?
Don't give up. I mean, if I'm going back in the past and telling myself at a young age, don't give up. And dream bigger. I would tell him to dream bigger. Because I didn't find out until later in life I'm not talking like I'm 60 years old or anything, but I would say dream bigger, believe bigger, and anything's possible. I really would. I know that sounds cliche, but I'm seeing stuff now. Like I said, my world is smaller. My sphere is smaller. If I would have known this 10 years ago, I have to wonder where I would be today. Just 10 years ago. Now, go back to when I was a kid in high school. I kind of would have told myself in high school, don't worry about what's going on right now. It doesn't make any sense. I look back at high school and I was like, did I really learn anything then? Probably not, but I think that's what I would tell myself to, enjoy life, find yourself, and believe bigger.
Then the other question is to the guys that are listening. What advice do you have for them?
Advice to the guys. Well, like we talked about, be genuine. Be genuine, be true to yourself, find yourself. If you're struggling with areas of your life, I think the first thing that I ever had to do for myself when I finally found who I was, I had to forgive myself. Everything I've done up to that point, forgive myself for not even knowing everything, for being ignorant, for messing up, forgive myself for letting things happen, whether I did them or not, bad things people did to me. I forgive myself. I'm gonna forgive that guy in the mirror first, and then I'll forgive somebody else. Because right now, and then secondly, forgive yourself and then love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, no one's gonna love you. It doesn't matter. Whatever. I know it sounds like very selfish advice, but at the same time, you got to figure yourself out first before you can possibly try to help other people, in my opinion. And that's where I found my peace with who I am and what I struggle with. So that'd be my best advice.
I think it's excellent advice. Excellent advice, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Andrew had an awesome interview with us here on the Manlihood ManCast. I have been friends with Andrew for a long time, and I appreciate his music. This music is really phenomenal, so please make sure that you follow him on social media. Make sure that you go and buy a copy of the album and listen to it wherever it is that you listen. Put it on repeat. It's some hard-hitting, good rock and roll. I love it. Let's show him some love. Also, let's show Manlihood some love. If you appreciate the work we're doing, please share our podcast with somebody. Please share our YouTube channel. Leave comments, likes, reviews. That helps tell our AI overlords that control all of the algorithms that we're putting out valuable content. If you just pay attention to it yourself, that's great. But make sure you share it with somebody. Let's give the kudos where they go so that we can help get Manlihood in front of more people. Listen, I love you guys. I care about you, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to be a better man, check out our website, manlihood.com, for blogs, videos, and more from our Manlihood team. And you can also join our private Facebook group, Manlihood Man Cave, where you can meet up with a band of brothers who will challenge you and help you on your journey of manhood. This episode is produced by Hatcher Media for manlihood.com. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you're listening to the show. Tune in again for more of the Manlihood ManCast.